First
it
of
used
all,
to be, but there's still classes.
there's two classes of citizens. You can be a state citizen without being a U.S. citizen.
Cops.
And
So
most of them don't have a clue about that.
Incident.
And so if
then
they're
they
on
get
that
called
jury,
in.
Okay.
by
The rest of the
definition, they're
cops
going to be an
pretty
idiot.
much just contain the area.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they're U.S.
They don't go
citizens.
in. Don't
Do we know anyone
They just contain
here
the area until attack groups are
on New Jersey that would actually go through a process of changing his status from U.S. citizen to a state citizen?
The only way that I know of you do that was just claim your state passport.
There's paperwork you can do. I mean, there's, you know, there's somebody.
Claim my state passport. What
Yeah,
is
like
state
his passport.
Yeah,
No, but you can, there's a process of, you know,
There's a couple
there's
mills.
paperwork you can do to be,
Yeah.
to become, you know.
When you apply for a passport, instead of applying as a U.S. citizen, you don't apply as a U.S. citizen.
Right.
The only issue with
But
you, though,
I-
naturalized, is I don't know that you could do it. You have to be born here
Right. Yeah.
to claim statehood.
Yeah. Did you have a green card or anything like that, or?
Well, I had on the beginning.
Yeah. But did you come in as because they ask? I think they ask, but most people say, "Oh, I want to be a U.S. citizen."
Yeah, no, I came
You know, which
legally.
okay, right, okay,
Got
Well,
my gray envelope with
yeah.
the gold seal back in Poland. Went
Right.
through the doctors, all checked out good. I flew here with that envelope and process started.
Well, most people, if they've got a driver's license and they've got a voter registration card and they filled out maybe you you ever fill a 1040 out, a 1040 form for tax purposes or W4? See, they basically they put you into the system.
Right.
I mean, they're not. I mean, you really have to know. There's most people that are born here, raised here. They don't know anything. You're not. Why can't you be like me? Why can't you be like the rest of us? I said, because I'm interested in the truth. You show me that what you're doing is if I'm showing you something and you don't rebut that, I want to know the truth. Period. I want to do what's right. What's going on? Why is there why have a gold fringe flag there? And you go and why is it when I wear the black? I always had a gut feeling really bad when you're in court. There's always something. It's like Vermont. Something really evil is it? Something evil, and I couldn't put my finger on it. Didn't realize what was going on. There's something wrong. Well, what's wrong is, and by the way, civil law, attorneys and the police, they can and encouraged to lie. It's happened to me a couple of times, and it's like it's not funny, but I mean it's like, what do you do? I mean, how do you? If you're not prepared, if you're prepared, you can do great things. And there are people that are prepared. There's a lot of good people too. They trip them up somehow, and they put them in prison. They're not in jail, they're in prison, and some of them have been there for a long time, and they get abused and so on.
Right.
And it's like, they're there to do, I mean, some of these people could be multimillionaires and billionaires.
Satanists.
Well, yeah, this is the thing.
It's in the Bible it says that you're supposed to put people like that to death. It says it right in the Bible. I
Yeah.
put it in my videos.
Yeah, that's right.
They're Satanists.
Right.
It says that you should put this evil away from among you, and people like that have to die. That sell them into slavery.
Yeah, but that was, he was talking to free men. He didn't give a slave the right to do that.
That's true.
Yeah.
So therefore,
Right.
if we become free men, we no longer have to do that to them because they're no longer capable of harming us.
Right. That's right.
Unless they do harm us, which then we go forward with the military martial law remedy of them committing a crime against a free man.
I heard someone.
Did you get that email, by the way?
I heard someone saying that they can't do something to Hillary Clinton because of the fact that she has become an American national, American state national or something. I don't know who this is, but she knows all what to do, but she's committed many crimes, I used to think Janet Reno, I used to blame Janet Reno for what happened at Waco, to Branch Davidian, because they had information and they had things in bunkers and with solid concrete, a couple of layers. They had Delta forces and so on there, And they basically blew all that out because of the information they were gathering. You know, what was going on at the airport there with Clinton and so on, with Bill. You know, I was an underling of George. You know, George, that's why they're so close in France. Anyway, I thought it was Janet Reno who ordered that. It wasn't her. It was Hillary Rodham Clinton that ordered that raid. That was one of the crimes that she committed, and all the other crimes that she's committed since that time.
It's on a Huawei.
It's just it's unbelievable.
I don't know that they've ever murdered a free man.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know, murder's murder in my book.
No,
Yeah.
we should-
But what I'm trying to say is,
let me
the
say
people
hello.
that died, okay, a lot of people don't know this woman's a witch, you know, or literal.
But in their mind, is it, do they have the legal cover? And the answer may be, I don't know.
Well,
Well,
based on that rationale, they're murdering babies because they're not persons is justified then. I mean, I disagree with that completely. I mean, murder's murder any way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
And they need to be put to death.
Yeah. I believe life starts at conception, basically, right?
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. But
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
Yeah. We got this guy in Connecticut, in New York, the governor of New York, this piece of crap. And I'll tell you, he went to the same high school as my brothers. My brothers went to a Catholic high school, Malloy High School rather, and an all-boys school. And he went there 4 years before him. 4 years before them. So, and here's a guy that said he won't sign this bill unless it includes up to and including the time of delivery of a baby to be murdered.
That's terrible.
And yet he's still in there.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's there because of his dad. You know, Mario.
Right.
Mario is under me using faccino. Yeah.
I mean, that's the same rationale they used to kill the Jews
Yeah.
in Nazi Germany.
Right.
Well, they're not persons, so that's okay. You can go ahead and kill them.
I know.
You know, I just, you know,
Yeah.
murder's murder.
Yeah, and they killed people, all kinds of other people.
That's right.
I mean, and they had the, they got the Aryan race and so on, and they had all these women, and these guys would have relations and so on, and then they had these children born, and they were like, a lot of them were freaks and other problems and all kinds of nonsense that was going on there.
Yeah.
So, so much for his master race, right? You know,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Anyways.
And that's why our founding fathers had the enlightenment of the scripture and then figured out how to separate church and state
Right.
and make the people the sovereigns.
Mhm.
And the more we bring others, waking them up to become sovereign, the stronger the sovereign power will grow.
Right.
But, I mean, I admire the people, they've been at this for 20, 30 years, some of them.
Right.
All right.
Barely now. I mean,
Right.
so much in the last 3 years has even been improved
Right.
It's true.
as far as surgical. You know, instead of going
Yeah.
against them with a blunt force instrument,
Right.
it's more of a surgical strike.
Yeah, and they have to acquiesce because, they know when we're not going to mess with this guy. We want to have I have to laugh. It was one time in Herkimer County, New York, and this judge or administrator, seemed like a decent guy and all, but and then he has his Bible there, right? And there's an emblem on the about this big, on the top of his Bible. You know what that emblem was? Freemasonry. I think you have to be a Freemason in order to be a judge or an administrator in New York. Black robe guy,
They all are.
Yeah. I think it's required, basically.
Possible.
Yeah.
There was a moment I was actually thinking myself, should I join those ranks?
Well,
Like,
yeah, well.
I still have a ring, I might just
Yeah.
melt it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people
I was off
run with
this
the
long,
envy,
long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said no.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually Antichrist, and I can prove it from Revelation.
I mean, I wanted to join in, and then I started reading, and I started looking, and eventually at the end of the day, although you are not required to pledge
Mm-hmm.
allegiance to specific God, they want to make sure you have allegiance to some
Right.
entity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think down the road,
Yeah.
if they see sense in enlightening you,
Yeah. But who's the?
that enlightenment. So who was there? Who was the God of enlightenment?
Yeah. Right.
Well, you find out. Let me tell you, you don't find out until you're basically at 30. Most of the guys in there want it for business and other purposes, but when they get to the 32nd, 33rd level, type of thing. There's a guy named Billy Graham who came to Buffalo once, right? I was
Just the way I'm thinking of Sebastian and his connections to future world,
Yeah.
keeping him in all boys CBA, prestigious.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe meet people that would allow me look into better contracts, or,
Right,
or get involved in work that would be coming from governmental side, of government side.
Right.
It was just idea for maybe a better connection in the world of business.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of my belief.
Right. I know. But are not most of the police forces though? They seem to they have a
The higher ranks seem they.
No,
I
I'm just
see
talking
ranks.
yeah, exactly. Are they not pretty much
It's the police is a fraternity,
right?
same as any big organization.
But within
So
that,
anybody that has any level of societal or society connections has a group of people to pull from,
Right.
and because they're also part of the same fraternity, moving across from one fraternity to another fraternity is not that big of a deal and not that hard.
Right.
So I guess if they want to infiltrate the police force, they certainly get up the ranks to the higher ranks, and then they start bringing in more and more people from the lower ranks.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's where I was approached,
Mhm.
through somebody through the police.
Mm. Well,
And I do know that some of the other people that I seriously didn't like were members.
yeah.
One was a sergeant of mine
Mm-hmm.
who was an absolute bastard.
Yeah.
Not a nice man at all.
Yeah.
To the extent where he was moved to the division where I was serving from another division
Mm.
because he never actually did it, but he was threatening to hang one of the prisoners.
Really? Well.
That's why he was moved.
Yeah.
He didn't get sacked. He was reprimanded and moved to another division.
Mm-hmm.
what is that?
One of the
Huh?
one of the experiences that I had was as a probationary, he took us out.
eBay.
Were you looking for some kind of a?
I'm not
Wild
looking for
master.
anything.
Oh,
This is just eBay.
okay.
Okay, so this is right here. This is the notice and demand I was telling you about. This one's to a judge in Texas. I sent it last June, so it's pretty recent.
Can you send that to me, Glenn, please, or should I send you an email?
I can send it to you.
Because that's your latest. I'm sure I can pull a couple of good things out of it.
And this is to state fact of what?
It's designed to take away their presumptions.
And you send it to whom?
Well, I'm going to send it to Nelson, but if you want me to email it to you, give me your email address, I'll send it to you.
Adam.berg for advertisement.net.
I'll repeat that.
Right.
Without the accent. 'Cause I don't
Come
think
on.
he picked up the
I'm
phone.
gonna die with it. I'm sorry, I can't help it.
Adam,
No, I know.
Cadbury.
I still have the
Bird.
British accent.
at where?
Four.
Number 4.
Number 4,
Or,
at Verizon.net.
can you accept attachments there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Net. T.
Can you send me one?
So, and then this is, notice,
You have my email. You did send me something in the past.
well, Google went and basically seized my Gmail account, so I'm kind of doing it from a different email
That's
address.
crazy. It was because of that live stream thing.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
What happened? Who was watching it?
Who knows?
Wow.
You have sent me email?
That's
Yeah,
talk about
oh
censorship.
no.
Can you send me one of those too?
On the WhatsApp.
I'll sign up
Should
for your
be
service.
attached to the WhatsApp. Yeah, so there should be
Okay.
an attachment there to it. A notice. That is. a
What's your
video.
email address?
BM
The one I was
Bob
talking
Mary
about.
Charlie George CG
Oh, you said notice?
768.
Wait, there's no attachment.
Oh, you got it at yahoo.com. You got it there.
Oh, I got it there. yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you know, how do you change that? I put that in somehow. They got the G should be capital. I was so bugging the heck out of me. How do I change that on there?
Got me.
Okay. The contact you, I hope.
There, I added you to the, my contacts.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta change it. Somehow. It's going in and it's like, this is never, I never, you know.
Who else wants it? I got
You
Nelson.
sent me a
Oh,
video.
I don't
I
have
know
it.
this presentation. I've seen that
Any-
a couple of times.
You have it
I just
automatic?
never put it
There it
into
is.
practice.
You related to Mark
Practical
Dice by any chance?
application.
Not
Yeah.
the Mark Dice, but
I
I
never
do have a
applied
brother
it.
named Mark.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want it?
Practical.
Okay.
What's your email?
Anthony
Plus, he
P.
speaks
Clements at
extremely
yahoo.com.
fast.
Anthony P. as in boy Clements.
Right
Well,
there.
I just sent that to you. Yeah, the attachment as an email rather than through WhatsApp.
You're in the database. That's kind of scary. Okay, anybody else? You want it, Carl?
Yeah, sure, go ahead. Great. That should be.
Karl at
Top
PC Know-How.
That's the one.
Did it go?
I sent it
Okay.
to you. I definitely sent it.
Okay, that's everybody.
Adam Cadbury.
There you go. It's coming.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anyways,
Yep.
Are you related to Samuel?
Okay. From Glen.
Oh, Mark Twain.
so this is the notice and demand. It's 37 pages. So you might want to thin it down.
Well,
But it's designed to take away their presumptions. It's full of estoppel certificates. We talked about that on Friday. So estoppel certificates. And it's designed to take away their presumptions. Now, some of the stuff you may or may not want to put in there, so, you
So,
know,
I'm sorry, who did you send it to?
I sent it to you.
No.
This one I sent to Presiding Judge, 8th Administrative Region, Chief Administrative Judge in Fort Worth, Texas.
And for
So
what
I
we-
would aim this to whom? To
You could use this with any government official, including a county sheriff or anybody like that. When I send it out, I
our
just...
Supreme Court?
Huh?
Well, the question is, what? My thinking is what's the reason we're sending it?
It's to take away their presumptions.
So it could be like he already did with the county, whoever you sent that to already. Or somebody you've already sent something similar to this.
My notice of demand was aimed more of my right to travel.
Right.
That's good.
But quite frankly, I think you're better off just saying you're from Poland. Really, I'm serious.
As far as the side of the road.
As far as his right to travel, he's got more of a right to travel from Poland than American does,
Right, because we're under their contract.
because everybody here is slaves.
Presumption.
yeah, I would change that. I would definitely do that. Why not?
Basically
And I'd
how
use
I
the-
operate at the moment.
And I would use like some
Yeah,
leasing
right,
company.
that's how you
I'm
get
not
started.
a US citizen or even a naturalized person.
Right.
That's right,
They're gonna say,
I'm a
we're gonna
non-person,
mess with this guy.
non-resident.
that's right.
Right.
Alien?
Not an alien, no, because even an alien has a legal connotation too.
Oh,
Right, and
right.
in my case, and
I
and
never
I would say
had
Brian's
Polish
case,
license.
foreign,
When I needed, I
foreign
just bought it.
sovereign.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going, personally,
Well,
my situation is I'm
you
going
can buy
with
it.
foreign sovereign.
The important thing is you
As
have it
opposed to American
in
national.
conjunction with an
I mean,
international
I need
driver's
the word
license,
national
and they
word
have
out
to
of it.
recognize that.
I'm a foreign,
They have to, it's the international driver's license.
But I think to
And it is
apply
like
for
foreign to what?
international
You know,
driver's
when they
license,
ask
I
you
would
foreign
have to
to
do
you.
that from
Right, okay.
your
Polish side.
corporation.
Yes, you would,
Right.
yes, you would.
your
But that's
guns,
why you have the
Right.
Polish driver's
codes, Your
license
statutes.
and the Polish address,
It's a military.
and then you get that international
Right.
driver's license,
It's
then you
like
come
we're
here,
occupied by the
and there's
Germans
nothing
we're
they can
in
do.
France.
I think
Yeah.
the
Show 'em
issue,
that.
because I was going to apply for an international license
United
from
States.
UK in the very beginning, but I
North
understand
American could be South
at
American,
that
could
point
be North
it was
American.
only valid for a year.
Yeah,
Well-
there's a time limitation for it,
Right.
definitely.
It's not
Yeah,
specific.
so you have to
Right.
renew them periodically.
Just like, you know, regular license here, 40 years, I think same principle applies to Poland.
So technically, you understand these things. These groups that are
So,
formed-
but anyways,
Yeah.
this talks about how we're under martial law,
Right.
talks about war crimes,
You had some cases in there too.
oh, there's all sorts of it.
Yeah,
I
I think
mean, there's so many cases, once you get dialed in, you only need to name a couple, because you only need one.
Well, and that's why you might want to thin it down.
Yeah, but it's good to have it for reference.
It's good for reference, you
Right.
bet.
And then it's time, I mean, every time I redo my documents, I tend to improve them.
Right.
They get clearer,
Mhm.
more to the point,
They're more powerful.
more powerful,
Yeah.
and I haven't even applied for my 5-star passport card,
Right. Mhm.
because I wanted to make sure
Right.
I knew what I was doing, and also, you know, if I go off even just outside of Ocean City, there's nothing on the public record yet of my original status.
Let me ask you, have you heard that as far as the flag? Because I heard different things, but I couldn't have anyone that definitively tell me this is in fact, you know,
You know what you do is you test it.
okay, like going 120 miles.
No. Well, I mean, the problem is if you're actually in if you're in a registered car,
Right.
then you have a much higher risk than a private,
Right.
because you're giving them the presumption
Mhm.
by registering it that they have the certificate of title,
Yeah. Okay.
because you've kind of entered it into their
Oh,
database.
So if you've never gotten a certificate of title, because somehow the process would stop somewhere,
Definitely good
but
amount
plates
of
were
risk.
issued to you,
Oh, yeah.
or a plate was issued to
Definitely.
you, what does that mean as far as, does that mean that they don't know who this was that went through wherever? In other words, if you're going, I guess you'll find out if you get a, well, no, if the address changed, then you wouldn't. If someone was sending you a quote, not a ticket, but you know, you go through some of these things in New York, they have this all automatic. You either have, if you don't have Easy Pass, it send it to the record.
See, if I did this again, I'd add in the stuff about international law, about the protection.
Yeah.
And that would have been good to add as a note in the email.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's already sent.
Now, I know, I'm just saying.
But, you know, matter of fact, let me look.
You can resend it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, just forward it to everybody.
I
Again,
could.
but it's I mean, it's an education process, it's a continual improvement.
Right.
And Glenn has started to trim this down, he told me.
Hmm.
Some of it. But it just so happens, in my case, I'm on the record through this fake court proceeding that I put my posterity on the record in 3 municipalities that I tend to be in. So I'm on the record as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
Plus, the city clerk is obliged in the minutes of the meeting when I spoke on the record, it actually says in there, this guy Nelson Dice says he's not a U.S. citizen. It's on the record. Because when the minutes come out, they have to summarize what each person spoke about. Because it's on the public record. So they have an obligation as the clerk. So I'm going to get more specific at some point and say, please, I would ask that the municipal clerk specifically write in the minutes that I quote, and I'm going to say that, I am a foreign citizen, because I haven't seen yet where she said that. Excuse me, foreign sovereign.
See, I don't remember if my when I went through process, took an oath, sworn, and the document was handed to me when I became naturalized. I don't remember if it included that I what's the word?
Renounce?
That I renounce any and all
Foreign
allegiance to
That's part of the oath, though, isn't it?
anything and everything other than.
Right. Usually when
Oh.
you do that, you renounce foreign allegiance, right? The thing is, like with me, I was born, my mother's American, so I claimed it. I didn't have to renounce anything. And so I'm not naturalized either. I was born in Canada, and yet I just claimed it. And I was able to do that because of the fact that my mother was American. And she was born in Oklahoma. And so that's one of the things I put in my document here.
Where on Oklahoma? And the reason I asked that is you saw the recent case, correct? About the Indian tribe that owns a third of Oklahoma?
I heard
Oh,
about
yes.
that. I
The
heard about
Supreme
that.
Court just said,
I know.
you might be First Nation.
So you mean everything is not okay?
Well, I
in
do
there?
have ancestors that were Cherokee. I got a grandmother, a great grandmother that's
Oh.
Cherokee.
Oh, really?
So you have all sorts of claims.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And many people do, we just don't know it because
That's right. That's right.
the people in power like making us slaves
Right.
and collecting fees.
But is this something you have to draw the picture and list all the names and
I
relations?
did.
Well, what's
I do.
happening is they're trying to enslave you, and we're trying to protect ourselves from the predators, the pirates. And so whatever you have to bring up, you have to bring up to say that you're talking to the wrong guy. You don't have no got any authority over me.
And the genius of the the founding fathers, part of it was, prior to that, many people swore an oath to the crown, to the king.
Yeah.
When we were colonies. When we became states, the question became, who do we have allegiance to? Some people today say, I don't have allegiance to anyone. But
Well,
in my case, I want to say my allegiance is to
the people.
the people. I'm one of the people.
That's right.
So I'm like, I need
My
that.
allegiance is
So,
to my
so
friends
your
and neighbors.
allegiance should be to God, Creator.
Yes, but from a
Religious or not,
yes, we're endowed with our Creator by certain unalienable rights. The Creator really would be a good
Right.
thing to start saying, which we kind of do.
It goes back to the Bible, really.
Yeah, and just so today, even when I was correcting my documents, I started reading it again, and I'm like, wait a minute, I need the Declaration of Independence in there, I need the Treaty of Peace,
Right.
because these are the foundations of my particular situation. Now, if it were me and I came from overseas, whatever documents are mine, I would read them carefully, because we always learn new things. When we read documents, we think we're aware, we think we know what they say. All of a sudden, the light bulb goes on, and this is what it actually said. Good or bad. You can use it positive or negative. And if you find out that your documents say something that puts you at a disadvantage while you're here, then you have to figure out how to revoke it or go back and come forward again. Like retrace your steps. I don't know that that's something you can or will want to do, but if it were me, I would look at what I signed and what it says and who I was signing it as. Was I signing it as the slave or was I signing it as a man?
Right.
Because I think the document consists of both the United States of America and United States.
Yes, but that. What is the United States of America?
Two different things.
No, listen. What is the United States of America?
In my opinion,
Yeah.
the Republic.
No, that's the con that they get you under. And it's so slick, they are slick. The United States of America is different than the United States of America.
Right.
THE.
Yes, the difference is, in our founding documents, you heard it and saw it and didn't understand what was happening. When you come in from out of the country, if the word THE with a small t is in front of United States of America,
That's Republic.
no. Exactly. This is how confusing they make it.
Yeah.
If it says small t, you might as well erase the word and tell me what it says.
Federal capital.
The United States of America is equal to United States of America.
On that document, every tells the United States of America, it's in all caps.
Oh, that's even clear. If they put the
That's
United States,
on
if
top.
it's in all caps, then that's declaring you're under the slave
Right.
municipality.
Corporation, yeah.
Just like on the money, if it says the same thing,
Same thing like on the money.
which is what I kind of brought up the other day with Glenn, on the money, they're saying this is slave money. So when you review those documents, if they made you a slave by you signing it, then there might be a way for you to.
Unsign it.
No, I think it might
Have
be
to
okay.
rescind the signature.
Well,
wouldn't
you might not even want to. Depends what it says.
Yeah.
you? Yeah, I
Because,
guess.
as Vital says, he has numerous personas. Depends on the situation,
Yeah.
what he's claiming. For example, my driver's license, I agree to the all caps name for if I'm in commerce. But the man is that straw man is the one who has the license, not the man.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Anybody?
Last year, we had this thing, when, in May? April, May?
April, isn't it?
It was, I think it was April. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see what they do to a green card holder that then they become naturalized. What is it? And it may be, like I'm thinking this one woman that works.
Well, Vital went through that process, didn't he? He's naturalised.
He has a yes, but he also does the whole man thing.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, but that what I was getting at is that he is operating as a man when generally, but when it suits him, he'll move over to the
Right.
put the overcoat on of the
Right.
the political man.
No, just another hat. We're wearing different hats, basically.
Yeah.
But I think, and there's no, in my opinion, there's no real way for an immigrant who's been naturalized to have the same
No.
and same
Right.
power at the end of the day of certain people with posterity.
Yeah, the state,
And it-
what would be classed born here, state
Right, and it's
national.
like I say.
Yeah, but in the Bible, okay, again, if we're Christians, we're supposed to treat those
Yeah,
who
but
are
you see-
strangers the same as those born in the land.
My name was changed. Because I sign in what we would call proper English. Top of the document is all cap letter, the United States of America.
Right, which is a corporation.
That's me,
Is it you?
and right, yeah, it is.
Well, I have to say, I don't know what you agreed to. That would be the question.
What is that? Certificate of naturalization?
Uh-huh.
So it's gonna depend what it says
So up,
and what
It
corporation,
says he has allegiance to the United States.
what United States.
Well, that's true. That's
Yeah.
the question, isn't it?
Right.
I
And
certify
who is it
the
that?
description
Christians,
given is
we're
true, and
supposed to
that
treat
the
the
photograph
strangers in the
affixed
land
here
Like
to
those that are born in the
is
land.
Where does
a
it say that?
likeness of me.
It says that in Exodus.
Let me see it.
It says, because you were
Picture,
strangers in the
yeah.
land of
And
Egypt.
I sign my name, and then it says, be it known that
They're not
pursuant
allowed into
to
the congregation
application
until they say,
filed with
Generation, maybe.
the Attorney
Right.
But you
General
should have
of
one statute.
at New
same
York,
statutes
New York,
for the
all
strangers
caps.
as those born in the land. And
The
right now,
Attorney
it's
General having
completely
found that,
bastardized.
all caps,
I
me,
have to look at it. And what does it mean to enter the congregation?
then residing in the
Well,
United
I
States,
claim it's Yusufa.
Uppercase again?
Could be, I don't know.
Maybe.
upper
I
lower,
think that
but
that's
just
the
United States,
national
residing in the
law
United
that
States,
Yeah.
undergirds
intends to
life
reside
force.
in the United States
Maybe.
when so required
But
by
we're
the
supposed to, 'cause they were
naturalization
strangers in the land
laws
of Egypt.
of the
And that's how they got
United
enslaved.
States.
So you have to treat the strangers the same as those born in the land.
And had it all,
Right, but they don't have the same rights.
So, from what I can
There's
gather,
a
And
difference,
had it-
obviously, but I think the statute.
and had in all other
And
respects
it's not saying, it's saying you're no
Completed.
longer a slave when you get here.
with the applicable
Which
provisions
the
of such naturalization
martial
They
law
can't make the
and
strangers slaves because they do that. They do it to themselves.
was
So,
Entitled
that goes back
to
the
be
martial
admitted
law situation.
to
As
citizenship,
we've uncovered,
lowercase
is
Right.
citizenship.
where we're at, and
I think
Such
so.
person
And
having
so-
taken
that's why we
the
don't have
oath
so
of
much success.
allegiance
In my view,
in a ceremony conducted by
he
the
has no chance
U.S.
of
District
getting to a, like in
Court,
your case,
Eastern
a
District,
marriage,
blah,
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
because it's blood,
Right.
birthright,
Right of blood is a maxim of law and it's old as time itself.
That
so you can't claim that.
such person
But
is
you can
admitted
claim
as a
other things
citizen
that
of the
being
United
a
States
man
of
in a strange
America.
land,
Right.
he's entitled to it, and I
Lowercase
agree.
the,
Right.
But when it comes to certain things,
yeah.
and that's
I think what it is more than anything is you create your own reality, and so if you
Yeah.
expect them,
I think that what
to
you
treat
read,
you
I'm
thoroughly
confused
and
now, which one
honorably,
is which?
then that's probably what will happen. It's-
unless you
it's-
come up with,
because
unless you instigate.
the,
it.
Something-
your
something-
United
But
States
you have
of
to
America
create your
does
own
not
reality, so you
exist.
have to
So,
expect
so,
them
so
only
the,
thing
the
you can
lower,
to be honorable.
the United
See what I'm saying?
Right,
T
and
is
And
not
if you
good.
expect them
All
to be
caps
crooks,
is not good.
then they'll
Which
be
one
crooks.
is it?
well, and if you have a stick to make sure you say
Which
you're,
is
you're
the
free to
republic?
be a crook,
Right.
Lowercase
Today,
the,
Right.
here's the
lowercase
crux.
On
United.
any
Right,
then
yeah.
So go ahead.
documentation,
Yeah,
it doesn't
that's what I
exist, so
think.
it doesn't
So
matter.
I think you're entitled
It
to a
doesn't
5
exist.
star when you apply for your
The
passport.
republic doesn't exist?
Not in their
Posterity.
paperwork, not in
Maybe.
anything that
I've
they
got
do.
an affidavit
They don't-
that I've made that
Like
when I
except
do
maybe
apply
in-
for a
in
passport,
law,
I'm planning on using.
And judges.
I think you're golden at this point, Glenn.
Orders and
on that.
judges' writings, they may and do
You having fun?
distinguish between the two,
I am.
but on any
I
of the
am-
official
I'm more
paperwork,
every-
When it comes
I
to
hear
judges
state-
in
So you're thinking going down to
in
Texas to,
91, their
You don't have
oath
to go.
changed.
No, no, you don't
The
have to.
language
We're
of the
thinking
oath
of
Actually, you know what,
changed.
when I'm there, I might be there in a couple of weeks.
And
Right.
since then, they don't have to obey
Yeah,
by
I very well
constitution. That's
may.
why
I'll
you
show up
bring
in
a
the flesh.
constitution in a
I
courtroom,
want
they
to buy
That's right, yeah.
a
Right,
physical
yeah, yeah.
location.
Right.
So that
you're
I
in a
can
court of
tell
equity, not in a court of
anywhere.
law, so none of that has any relevance in
Well,
the court.
you have
With
buy,
my
you
ID
can get a
card.
virtual, there's virtual and there's also like UPS type store. And you can basically, depending on, you know, where in
I
And the
don't
town.
know about the
constitutional,
virtual.
Okay,
right.
yeah, I'm not sure, the virtual,
People
there's
talk
a
about.
catch there.
There's
too.
just privileges.
And because of other things, the other
There's no
charges,
such
if
thing
you
as
really,
constitutional
you're better off
rights.
if you can get a physical.
If
Yeah,
I
yeah.
found the
Constitutionally
body on the
protected,
land,
right, the
I've got
rights
physical,
protected
Okay,
by
that
that's
3
right.
square
Correct.
feet,
or
and I
constitutionally
can
Yeah.
protected.
Right,
Exactly,
I
that's
think
the
that's
correct.
the
Constitution
best
doesn't
best
guarantee
is to
me
do
any
that,
right.
and then, you
And
know.
then what I'm going to do
Absolutely
is,
not.
get a nice looking.
But that's what people say.
plate, which he
No,
has.
I have my
that-
constitution.
that
on
much
a
I-
car, I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
care
no,
if they
I-
take,
Right.
and I'm gonna
But I
notice
call them
them
oxymorons.
through the
Even
public
I
record
understand
that this
there's no
car is
constitution.
my personal
Constitution
property,
gives us no
and
rights.
you have a sign on it
someone who
that
had
says,
rights and
if you
wrote
take it,
them
you
down
owe me.
for
Well, let me ask you something.
whatever
If
was
you're the
being
one who gets
created,
stopped,
then to know that
because he did mention something
This is
about
the
it. He was talking to
red
about
line
it.
you should not cross.
If the car, if you did put the car in a trust,
And then things
he's
went
going to
south.
talk about soon, and then
Yeah,
how
no.
now the insurance
That's
amount
right,
could
yeah.
be
Didn't
more,
take
it could be
the
less.
That even
course.
gives
King George and the,
another level
Well,
of
and
protection.
that's what I'm saying. You get stopped. One thing. Well, they can't
Europe
just take that
and
car,
beyond.
can they? I mean, you
They
know.
can
wanted
do
to
anything
keep-
Well, they can do
want,
anything
they
they
have
want.
to
That's-
do.
Well, that's true. You're right about that.
So you have
But-
to
And
talk
they
to
did-
them
they did
and
to
explain to
the banking
them,
system,
you
they
can
did.
do this,
Right.
but if you
Not
do,
every
Let
Right.
someone get in
Right.
their way,
Right.
that's
and
why
put a
when I
bullet
told
in
the
the head.
captain,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he was putting me in the cuffs,
Yeah.
I didn't advise him yet that he didn't have an oath. I only did that after he put me in the cell because I wanted damages.
Right. Right. Right.
I
right.
wanted him to
Sure.
put me in the cell.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
Once he put the cuffs on me, I'm like, all right.
yeah. Okay.
So we're walking down the street. And he doesn't know at the time that I met with the city solicitor. So I yell at the top of my lungs, another illegal arrest. And he thought I was a cuckoo.
Right.
10 minutes later, his face drained of all the blood. And now, because they realize they are now, they have, why are we in here, class, signing another oath of office and allegiance? Because the one that you did sign 10 years ago didn't have under the authority of the people on it.
Where's that?
Who is the people? This
Wait,
crazy
this is my
nut
affidavit of
who's standing
citizenship.
outside.
Right.
If
So
I
that just is a big circle.
apply for a
Yeah.
passport, this is what I'm going to use.
So now you have something on record.
And it shows my ancestry.
Yeah, and I have a claim, and
Going
I'm
back to before
I'm
the
hoping that
War of
Well, it's
Independence.
going to be substantial.
How did
I don't know what it is
you
right now.
apply
The
that?
monetary.
My mother was big time into
unlawful
genealogy, and she did a whole
arrest.
bunch of research before she
Well,
died.
And, you know, being
see, in
held.
my
Without
case,
giving sample of
they
blood.
violated the
That's right,
New
no
Jersey
blood.
Constitution of my free exercise
No,
of
she's
religion,
got, she
Right.
did the research.
and the state constitution
So I have
puts a value
ancestors.
on that.
That's right.
You know what the value
Like,
is? The state constitution for New Jersey.
No.
It's beyond,
Livingston's.
it says
There was
inestimable.
people who signed the Declaration of
So I
Independence.
wrote
that were
down what I
Livingston's.
estimate my right as.
Right.
And here's a
And they're
Livingston
like-
from 1714.
So if the state attorney general does the right thing,
Mhm.
that's going
And
to tell
Aycock,
the city council
William
and the
Aycock
mayor
was
and the city
pretty well
solicitor
known
that
amongst
my
founding
claim of
fathers. He was
$105 million
1705, though that's
has
a long
validity.
time before the
Okay,
War of Independence.
it's going to,
That's a good number, 105 million,
and the reason I came up with that number was their credit line is 180 million. So I
Okay.
wanted to put it where they could have a little credit
yeah. Right,
left
right, right.
and still pay me.
Okay, well, you can make easy 10%.
The Aycocks, I think there's Aycocks that were signers on the Declaration.
Without any
of
risk.
Independence. And anyways,
So this-
I have
I
no
have
idea.
ancestors
I'm
that go
telling-
back to
it's
them.
just
I know.
fun.
Even though
But
I
they'll-
was born in
right,
Canada.
Right, but they'll have
See
to
what
settle
I'm
for
saying?
something.
I don't know that.
And
Well,
so
They
well,
might
maybe-
be that stubborn.
They may pay
So-
it, yeah, they may have to pay it.
Right,
It
but
might
this
be
is still
that
considered
stuff.
American
Right.
soil.
You know?
Right, yeah, that's true.
I don't know that I'm limited to what I claim, because if they
No.
make me go to court,
Right.
my question though is going to be, and I'm going to need some coaching on
Mhm.
how to get in my, because I've been under the impression that I can't go into their court system
Mhm.
as a man, that I have to have some form of entity to file in their court system.
Or representation.
Yeah.
Hmm?
That's,
Or representation.
I don't understand.
a representative like a lawyer.
Oh, a representation.
yeah, but they can't
Oh,
represent
no,
the
no,
real
but
man.
see, I can't trust the representation.
Right,
That's the
right.
problem.
Right, right,
I know.
I'm done, because he'll sign a deal that I didn't agree to.
right.
So the question is how do can I go in their state system, or do I need to go in the federal system, or do I need to go to the International Court of Claims? That's
Probably, you may have to do that, yeah.
I don't know, can you even go into the International Court of Claims as a man?
The US doesn't honour the ITCC.
What is the ITT?
That's the name given to the International Court, Criminal Court.
But you're talking about the, you're
No, I'm
talking
talking
about
about the civil court.
Yeah. Also,
I'm filing a claim as if it was nation to nation. We'll see. But
Well,
anyway,
I guess it depends if you're working in common law, if you're working in, you know.
I don't know. That's where I need education, I need testing, I need...
Probably common law would be.
Yeah, but there is no common law. Is there a common law on the state of New Jersey, in the state of New Jersey?
There's one in the country somewhere, I think. There's one.
Really?
Yes.
Where is it?
I'm not sure if it's in Philadelphia or,
Well, they used to have the Court of Common Pleas in New Jersey, and when
Yeah.
they put the new Constitution in 47, they erased all that and made it all administrative. Because for many decades, it was kind of like they were this,
right.
just putting more and more ties as the people got born.
Yeah.
There were less and less men and more slaves.
I think what happened is when the government went bankrupt in 1932, it became owned by the Roman cult and everything changed. And at that point, before then, I've always heard that when you became naturalized, you actually had a choice between whether you wanted to be a U.S. citizen or a state citizen.
Yes.
And most people didn't have a clue, and so they said, oh, I want to be a U.S. citizen.
Right.
And after that, that's when the Roman cult started putting in all this deception and everything like that.
Roman civil law out of D.C., et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
The, as far as it expands.
Yeah.
Nobody asked me which citizen did I want to be.
That's
No,
what
you
the-
didn't get a
So
choice.
you didn't
'cause
get a
Yeah.
choice, you're 80 years too late.
32.
To even think. You,
Exactly.
you just took what they gave,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which could be a reason for revoking the signature.
Mhm.
Be very interesting.
Mhm.
We'll see what happens with him. And Vital would be the man closest to his
Situation or
specific
position.
situation, yeah. From a foreign country, naturalized.
Right.
I think Vital's.
In that case,
I think I've heard him mention he was naturalized.
Yeah.
Well, anything that has been signed can be, can be undone. It can be, right? There's a process. Isn't there a process that anything that you may have,
of course,
you can undo?
you can revoke a signature.
Right.
In that case, what I would do is like I've renounced the U.S. citizen,
Right.
and I've sent registered letters to the Secretary of State
Mhm.
renouncing the
Right.
U.S. citizen.
Right.
And what
And then what I would say is, but I remain a Texas citizen or an Arizona citizen.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
And so you're renouncing the low-life scumbag slave, basically. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, again, some people have become, American state nationals, but I know that's not what you.
I don't like it. But in his case, he'll probably be led to, okay, so you want to be like this Polish citizenship that he thought he had.
Right.
It was very much like the slave here.
Yeah.
There was no difference because
Right.
the Roman cult
Right.
has its net
Everywhere.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
Yeah.
through the
Right.
United Nations.
Did you?
Except that my birth certificate is, my name on it is in proper form.
All
So is
capital.
mine.
No, not all caps.
Upper and lower.
Proper is upper and lower.
Upper lower.
Okay.
And that may or may not, that may mean you are a territorial citizen,
Yeah.
which is still admiralty. When I go before my city council, they started laughing at me initially. They said you have to state your name and your address. So I said, I'm Nelson of the House of Dice. It's in all lowercase.
Mm-hmm. Right.
My address is near 12th and Central on Peck's Beach Island, which was the name of this ground before the war of Civil War.
Okay.
So I'm on the land. I would say I'm on the land.
Yeah.
Right.
And they
See,
initially.
this is
Yeah.
an Alberta birth certificate.
That's a birth certificate.
This is Canada. Yeah.
Okay.
Alberta.
Yeah.
And my brother,
Oh,
over the years, you apply for his birth certificate, so you lose them. He
Right.
got one in the 1990s, they actually had the audacity to put the word subject on there.
Yeah.
Really?
On a birth certificate?
He put, yes, of Pennsylvania. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Corporation sent a guy who sent money in to say, I need a birth certificate,
See, and this is the registration of live birth.
and I can't get mine.
12 days
in
difference in my brother.
Pennsylvania.
Huh?
My one brother's 12 days. He's September 7th.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
You mean certificate of live birth?
This is the Canadian one, and this one says I use this with in my documents because it says my mother's American.
Nice.
Okay.
She doesn't say U.S., it's American.
So are you related to Cher?
Nope.
He's
no,
Cherokee
can't say.
Nation too.
But I've also got
Oh, registered.
certificates of blessing and baptismal certificates that will
wow.
that I can use.
Oh wow, you have that too, huh?
But my understanding is that my church has taken, when I used to get my envelopes to give them money,
Uh-huh.
they turned to all capital names.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Right.
Because that means that they have hypothecated me.
Yeah, 501c3, whatever. Yeah.
As
Right.
Scoundrels.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Without telling.
you can give your tithe wherever you want.
Why? Did they ever send you envelopes
Yes. Initially.
addressed to a proper name?
Yes. Initially, many years ago. I've been in this one congregation for 20 years.
But I was adopted when I was about 12 years old. So my blessing certificate says Gobro. That's my birth name.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then if you look here, I was adopted by Murray Fern. My mother got remarried, and Murray Fern adopted me. So that's where my name wound up being Fern. But so then this shows him, and that will show him. But if you go to the blessing certificate, it shows Gobro. So I could be either one.
Blessing certificate, that's interesting. That's
Right. Yeah, this is from the church. This was there's
Well,
I heard.
do you know who you are?
Yeah, that's right. I've heard that during the Soviet Union, there's people that used to travel to the Soviet Union
right.
with a baptismal certificate. They
Okay.
didn't have a passport
Right.
or anything else, just a baptismal certificate.
Right. Yeah.
And that makes sense because that's common law. That's
Right.
church.
Exactly.
Right. In fact,
Exactly.
I woke up this morning thinking about that very subject, about how the family Bible.
Mhm.
Oh, you know what it was? I woke up and I'm going to preach a sermon on this to the city council. When Jesus was under Roman civil law, what did the emperor command his father to do
What's that?
Certified copy.
while Mary
okay.
was pregnant?
Oh, I've heard that.
What did he command?
Go to the decree of Caesar Augustus,
Oh, right.
the decree of Governor Murphy or whoever, go to your hometown so that you could be taxed,
Oh, tax. Yeah, exactly.
registering the name.
Right.
So nothing's
Wow.
changed.
Wow.
Right.
But that's because Israel was under the boot of martial law.
Of Rome.
Oh,
So when the people came over here to flee martial law in Europe,
right.
they created a sovereign nation without that boot.
Mhm.
And then the boot was unhappy. And there's a thing called the Secret Treaty of Verona, 1837.
I heard of one,
What did that say? The Secret Treaty of Verona was between the monarchs of Europe that said, what's going on over in North America, we can't allow to grow. We must stop it. And this is why they continue to entrap the sheeple into these.
But I think First Central Bank was organized here before 1837.
Yes, I understand that, but they were telling the whole world system of lawyers and everyone who was still under the Roman civil law of slavery, South America, all of that.
You can break free.
We can't let, no, they're not going to break free, and we need to put in a plan to, and they would pay people with privileges and, you know, by saying, you play along with us and help us get all these thousands of people under our...
Just like when the births are registered in the hospital gets $4,000.
And COVID death certificate, they get $50,000.
I think they get more than that here in
Could be. Well, at one time it was
Yeah, it was
4,000
$4,000.
at the hospital.
It's
but
unbelievable,
It could
isn't
be more now.
Yeah.
Well, it's because it's in Federal Reserve notes. So that thought came to me this morning that I'm going to be telling the City Council, because I always read Scripture as almost always my first thing I say. They know they're going to get Scripture when
Right.
I go up there. They're like, all right, what is it today?
Yeah.
And I don't belabor it. I just give them a little bit of something that I feel is...
And how do you get notified of city council's meetings?
It's on, you could find out probably in 10 minutes when the next one is in your hometown. Just go on their website, it's public information. I invited Bobby, he said he
And you
can't...
have to register to have time
No.
for a speech? Or you
In
can-
my, yes, you go up and you sign one's name on the sheet. And they will-
not as a visitor, but as awaiting time to speak.
Right. You
Or
wish
be
to speak.
called.
I'm a member of the public, and I desire to speak.
In some jurisdictions, you don't even have to do that. You just show up at the meeting, and when they call out, does anybody have anything to say?
Right, and the
then
reason-
you approach the...
Right, and the reason they do the reason they do that is to preserve their time, because if too many people show up, they give everybody 3 minutes as opposed to 5 minutes, depending on how many people show up.
Yeah.
And then in my particular situation, they offer another 5 minutes of freedom at the end, and that's when they say, "Does anyone want to speak?" Because when your name is on the sheet, they call you in order of what you signed up.
Yeah.
So there was a meeting I was at two times ago where I was reading the information from Anna about the 3 constitutions.
Mm-hmm.
I said,
Okay.
would it surprise anyone that there is more than one constitution? Now let that sink in. It's
Yeah.
kind of like you give them rain and
Mm-hmm.
And I have 5 minutes. They're not allowed to interrupt me.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I would like to get as much information as possible in 5 minutes.
Well, I'm more interested in them absorbing it, because when people try to give them too much, they don't even listen.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
I said, there's more than one, and I began to slowly read in 17.
Are you talking about our state constitution?
No, I was speaking federally. And actually, there are 3 state constitutions,
Right.
which,
You talk about Annabelle rights, right?
And every next one got a little thicker.
no, I don't know if they got thicker.
Oh,
but-
yeah, they got thicker.
Did they? Okay.
I have all 3 of them.
Okay. Did you know that the first New Jersey Constitution allowed women and black folk to own property? The second one in 1844?
I believe according to Constitution, everything that happens after the rights, the original writing, it's that
I'm not sure how that worked. I'm not sure how
it
that
all
works.
still standing. It
Maybe
has all
it's that the
standing.
Constitution is...
Because
yes,
the
but-
Constitution was ratified twice.
But the current Constitution affects them, not me.
Well,
Because-
any constitution really just affects the government. It doesn't say anything about the people.
Right, and that's where the Bill of Rights is so critical,
Right.
to the federal. So
Thank you, Patrick Henry.
in the words of the 3rd Constitution of New Jersey, guess what? They turned the judicial branch into completely administrative. It says it in there. I was reading it. It blew my mind like less
Wow.
than a year ago. I actually read the state
So
constitution,
from that point, there is no
common law.
common law
There's
or
no separation
Article
of
3
powers.
court.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. But it's only for them.
Right.
If I'm a man, that's
Right.
why everyone who's not a man is like this, walking around.
Right.
Put on the mask, do this, do that.
Right.
fear, get out of line, we'll take you downtown.
Bottom line, if someone tells you you can't come into the store without a mask on, and you explain
If
to
the store
them,
is open
I'm
to
not,
public,
I'm one of
and
the
he's
people.
public, they cannot order him anything.
Right, right.
No, I'm talking about a store
But they
where,
can refuse service,
I'm
right?
talking about a store like Lowe's or whatever that is throughout the country. I'm not talking about private, I know, because I've gotten that from someone from
Listen.
Lowe's. Well, this is private property. Well,
Everything is private, but if it's open to public,
yeah, that's what I mean.
he's the public.
That's what I'm
I'm
saying.
the public.
That's right.
Right, and you have
So-
to be willing to explain to a higher person what the federal crime that's being committed, etc. So
'Cause otherwise,
sometimes,
yeah,
I mean,
you can-
I put it on just to kind of, sometimes just not to hassle. If
Okay.
it's only going to be, and when I go in, I put it down
We
so I can
correct.
breathe, you
Because
know.
we
Right.
surrounded
It's like
by
I give them a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So just, so what happened at this one meeting, a man who had never been there, didn't know to sign in the first time. He saw me go up and speak. Then the second time I came up to speak about the Constitution and Admiralty and all of that, he interrupts me from the crowd,
Okay.
yelling.
Yelling what?
He spoke already. What is this, a history lesson? I don't have time for this. Because he hadn't spoken yet.
Yeah.
Maybe it
And
was
he-
his first time.
It was. So he didn't understand it. But what was interesting was I just was silent and I let the president reprimand him. Because that's the only man that can speak. The mayor can't speak. Nobody can speak except me and the president of the council. When my 5 minutes of freedom.
Right.
So you can look on the website. So I invited Bobby. I said, I'll come up and together we'll tag team and read things into the record. And maybe he can come, because I only get 5 minutes. Imagine if I had 5 people.
Right.
Yeah.
It'd be 25 minutes.
That's right.
So we
Right.
could get a lot more done and a lot more education, which goes to the Republic of the New Jersey Republic.
The revolution starts on counties level.
Yeah, I guess.
I've heard a lot of people telling that
Yeah.
the
it's-
revolution starts on the counties.
Yeah, it starts at where you are actually into the county, right? I mean,
You have to turn the counties before
the counties are
the
number one. The counties
country
are
can
important.
be
Yes,
turned over or
That's
turned
correct.
back.
Did
or-
you know that the original counties of New Jersey aren't in the same shape as they are today?
They're on the same
That's
shape.
possible.
No, shape.
Shape.
No, I thought you said same shape.
No, they're not in the same shape.
Oh, okay, right.
The Atlantic
As a district or counties?
is a county,
That's the county, yeah.
because a county is different than a district.
Right.
If you hear the word district, it's territorial jurisdiction.
Territorial.
Because I'm District 3 and looking at a map, it looks ridiculous.
It's territorial, yeah.
It's territorial jurisdiction.
Yeah.
There's 3 jurisdictions: land, territorial, and municipal.
I didn't see in there.
Land, territorial, municipal.
Right.
Land, territorial, municipal. I believe
Why is municipal on top?
it's the last one.
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's
It's
higher.
not positive.
The highest form is the land. Being on the land.
The most
Right.
powerful is the land.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Municipal is the air, and that's what the Catholic Church, the Roman cult, uses to do their sorcery.
But they're also connected with the territorial, no?
They are.
Yeah.
And the territorial, I believe, I believe what you're going to find in your Poland, that the jurisdiction there of your proper name, upper and lower, that you think is good, is territorial,
Territorial, yeah. Yeah.
which is admiralty, which is the law of the sea.
Right. Because it is
All French. Right.
typed using black ink. That all has a meaning, right?
Every jot and tittle.
Ev-
Yes.
Yeah.
Every dot has a meaning.
Every dot. Do you know what I found out today, guys? As I'm putting my information about the Declaration of Independence, I looked at the original document.
Mhm.
There is a period after, in Congress, there's a period after July 4th, 1776.
Really?
There's a period, and there was one more period after another phrase. I forget what it was. It might have been the unanimous declaration of these United States. I think there's a period there. I was like, wow,
And they all mean something.
they all mean something. So I've slowed down when I read things and look carefully. So the land jurisdiction is on America, in this, is the United States of America, upper and lower, unincorporated Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union of those 13 states. There were like 13 different countries
Mhm.
connected by Confederacy.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it was the Declaration of Independence, 1776, the Articles of Confederation, which while they were initially proposed in 77, they weren't ratified until 81. 81, Maryland was the last state to ratify, and then 83, have you seen this?
Yeah.
83 was the Treaty of Peace.
Mhm.
Just turn it on for this so you can see. And notice where, now I claim that the Roman cult with the monarch,
That's a Time magazine.
who didn't like the fact he lost the colony, he was upset still.
They would share
He just got not
situation.
killing him.
Right.
Like he still had animosity, and he was losing control.
Right.
So he made a deal somehow with Maryland, the Catholics,
Mhm.
the Roman Catholic, not
Yeah.
the good Catholic,
Right.
meaning the Roman cult Catholic. Maryland was the linchpin, and in order for the Articles of Confederation to be ratified, all 13 had to say yes. So Maryland stood there for 4 years, said, we're not signing till the western lands claims of the colonies, the states.
Mhm.
When you look at that map, it's
Yeah.
going to blow your mind.
Mhm.
I think. It blew my mind
Okay.
of what was going on in 83.
Mm.
Now, 81,
That's 1783.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, the Articles of Confederation weren't signed by Maryland in 81. See, we had to give up the land claims
Across the land.
then
Slowly.
of the western United
Slowly,
Appalachia.
right.
We had to give up. All the states had to give up their claims till the peace could be declared in 83. Because that gave King George the land to then give to the federal government to then sell to fund DC.
Create the Trojan horse.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I think
Yeah.
at this point may have
Yeah.
happened. And it just fits so perfectly. So then
Yeah.
he agreed, King George agreed to a peace with the United States of America.
Mhm.
So my question still remains, where is the United States of America as far as, when I say the, I mean all propers. So anyway.
Well, I remember reading back where they used to use these United States a lot.
Yes, I wonder what that
Well,
was.
it was on that land patent that we looked at yesterday, remember?
No, the United States.
That was the,
That's what, yes, excuse me, the.
yeah.
Right. So the question I have, if it was the, because it was land, that, well, it was only the land, it was only from Texas though.
That was an Arizona land patent,
From what
and
year?
it was BLM, Bureau of Land Management Office, Arizona State.
That's all good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the deal was, okay, is if you guys know what's going on, we'll do that until such time as who's ever on that land agrees to go back into the slavery, which there's a trap. I feel like I'm a mouse always going out.
Right.
Either it's a tripwire,
Right,
Yeah.
something.
and you know what's good is sometimes when the mouse,
Mhm.
you know, if you put a stick in there and you spring it, you can still open it up and get free.
Mm.
It's just if you're not prepared
Right.
for the teeth.
Yeah.
So I put a helmet on,
Mhm.
expecting maybe the handcuffs,
You got the armor of God.
the armor of God.
Do we want to go through trusts?
I do,
Yeah, I would if you.
unless you want
I
to
like
wait till next weekend.
Well, we can sign non-disclosure agreements.
Okay.
And then do we want to go and do a Bitcoin field trip?
What does
Sign.
that mean?
What does it mean?
I'm not signing anything. I'm done
The signing is a non-disclosure agreement to learn about the
Done
trust.
signing.
Without prejudice, without assumption.
That was it. The fact I learned that today was helpful, the fact that I shouldn't sign
You
without
see
prejudice.
308.
When I,
Which way?
without prejudice.
Oh, yeah, yeah, right.
I thought that was a good
I'm
thing.
looking for the date on it, but
No, I couldn't see a date on it.
right.
So you're saying whenever you put a document together, don't put anything without prejudice, just buy.
A lot of people,
is there more of these examples available?
That's, I'm gonna go ahead, hopefully next week or the week after, scan it, and I'm gonna send it to the worldwide group.
What magazine is that? Can I see that?
Hey.
time
Oh, it's
magazine.
My
Right.
brother
Oh.
found that, it was a special edition, he brought it home, he says, maybe this'll help.
We can scan it with my scanner. I got
All
a
right,
scanner
there you go,
right there.
and then
And then email it out.
the map, that would be awesome. Because it'll educate,
There's a lot.
yeah.
You know, this one's taking up most of your trunk, or unless you put it in the back seat, because that's like,
History.
you carry a bag like that, and you got every subject, you know. all
Yeah,
sorts
in my books.
of- But I mean, in your books, so you don't have much clothing for clothes and stuff.
Well, and what happened is I was cleaning up my travel trailer because I want to trade it in, and so
Right.
I have a lot more clothes than I normally have. Because
Okay.
you don't really need much,
That's true.
four changes of clothes.
Well, yeah, and if
really
you have
all
somewhere
need.
where you can wash them, of course,
Right.
that's the main thing. Right. Or
Right.
clean them, yeah.
Anyways, if we want to go through trusts, we can go through trusts. I mean, that's going to finish off the day. It's 3 o'clock, and
That
Matter
3
of fact,
o'clock,
we
your
might
time
not
or
even-
3 o'clock?
huh?
New
No,
Jersey time?
it's 3 o'clock the new time, yeah.
Okay.
Which is really, is
It's 3 o'clock. Yeah.
it really 4 or is it really 2?
Yeah.
No, it's
But
3.
it's really 4 o'clock. when
It's
you go
3.
down.
It's
Yesterday it would have been 4 o'clock.
Eastern Standard Time.
Right. Because you don't acknowledge that in Arizona, right? So where is Arizona now?
Arizona is Mountain Time.
This was what the
So you're
map
2
of
hours
the
ahead
world
now.
looked like in North
Yeah,
America.
no.
I mean behind.
Behind.
So it's 1 o'clock.
Arizona
Virginia,
is Mountain Time always. There's no
That's
daylight
what
time.
when
Arizona
peace was
does not
declared.
switch.
That's what I mean. But
So
the
in
rebels,
the
the
summertime,
seven- the
it's
Patriots,
equivalent to Pacific
England.
time,
right.
Pacific Daylight
This is
time,
what the
Now
land
it's-
claimed.
and in the wintertime, it's Mountain time.
No,
But it's Mountain time all the time. It doesn't change.
right. I know they don't change. Everyone else changes.
In Arizona, you don't change clock?
Arizona doesn't. That's kind of nice, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it stinks now because it gets so dark so early as well. It's not really.
Well, that's why they quit changing it in Arizona, because even now it's 7 o'clock and it's dark in
Yeah.
Arizona.
Yeah. Right. Well, you mean it's 1 o'clock there right now?
Right now it's
Yeah.
it's 1 o'clock there, but at 7 o'clock
Mhm.
it's dark in Arizona, and if you were on
That's 3 hours. No, like
daylight
California.
savings time, it'd be even earlier when it's
It's
dark.
3
Right,
hours
right.
difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Arizona?
Arizona's kind of funny
No,
that way.
it's a mountain time.
Yeah.
Or like central time.
Anyways,
They're the same time zone difference.
so everybody's got
We
to
have
sign a
2 hours
non-disclosure
on
agreement.
difference?
If you want me to. Now,
Today.
I know Carl's already done one, and so has Nelson, so just
Okay.
you three.
All right. Let's see here.
Yeah, the trusts are a really big help if and when, you know, you want to move. Even just,
There you go. Right.
even just signing the trust, creating a trust for the car. I don't need it.
So,
It's good for asset protection. When I was in my 20s, I had a car, and I was having trouble with the IRS,
There's one there.
and I owed more money on my
There's one on
BMW
the
than it was worth.
right.
And the IRS grabbed it and towed it,
The form there.
and they ended up having to give it back to me.
Is that right?
It was hilarious, because
No,
I
I already
kind
signed
of
it. I did
understood
it.
that
Yes.
having debt on
No,
something
Mm-hmm.
protected
2 years
it
ago,
from
maybe.
being
No, I signed one last year.
seized.
Oh.
Right.
You still need me to sign? I signed one last year.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay, then you don't need to sign it, that's fine.
Yeah, you got, this is Ocean City, okay, Ocean City.
Because last year was heavy on trust loan.
No, I screwed up. I put Ocean City, and then it's restaurant, etc. Okay. Well, what do you consider this place? What do you call it? I just,
This is 1137 Central Avenue.
No, I was referring, you weren't listening when I was before city council, they asked me give me my address.
right.
So I said near 12th and Central on Peck's Beach Island. That was the name before it was Ocean City
Heck
Oh, I
Beach.
see.
in the 1800s.
I'm just going to take
Is it called
it.
It was called Peck's Beach.
P-E-C-K-S?
Peck's Beach?
Yeah, Peck's
P-E-C-K-S,
You would
okay.
think they would know,
Who?
the city council.
Well, they knew, but they didn't understand. Like, they don't. No, they knew it was. They just didn't understand I was saying it because everyone else gave their address.
You know, 1113 Central Avenue,
Right.
including zip code.
No, but I saw ML or something on the floor, in the next door. It was one of that high significance before the name.
You know.
ML, yeah, in the tile.
Oh, that was an SL.
I'm sorry, SL rather, okay.
Yeah, SL. That was the name of it when there was a business